Chairman, Mr. Jesnik Daw, members of PAMCHAM Board, or PAMCHAM members, sponsors, our guest speaker, or kabayan, Mr. Dennis Uy of Converge, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. In my speech for our 70th GMM 2 months ago, I alluded to a much improved year for us in 2021. Indeed, the last quarter report of 7.1% on-year GDP for the Philippines raised our hopes not only for a much improved year-end, but may have a certain or expectation of a happier Christmas compared to last year's. This is premised on the continuing increase in the vaccination rates of our essential workers and the influx of vaccines to the country, allowing more businesses to open and operate. PAMCHAM, in partnership with our provincial government, had given due priority to the inoculation of some 9,000 employees of our member companies, and to date, I am happy to report that most of all, if not all, had already received their second doses. If the current downtrend in COVID-19 cases continues, and with the palpable indicative vibrancy in our economy brought about by the lowering of restrictions and subsequent increased mobility of people, we can indeed look forward to a happy, healthy holiday season. Given this impetus, we now have reason to believe that 2022 is a definite improvement from 2021. Notwithstanding the continuing threat of the COVID-19 variants, the most immediate of which is the Omicron. We are also gratified that the painful and costly ramifications of almost 2 years of quarantine impositions have finally made it clear for our government that our economy cannot survive the absolute curtailment of business activities and prolonged suspension of people's mobility. The year 2021 had been extensively busy for PAMCHAM despite the pandemic, noting the marked reduction in business activities on account of the quarantine ordinances. The number of meetings, now done virtual and online, ironically doubled. As a result, I often find myself attending successive meetings daily, and there were even times made possible by technology that I am in 2 simultaneous meetings. As president of PAMCHAM, I represent that business sector in consultative meetings with our local and national government agencies. There are also numerous meetings with the regional leadership of PCCI and the regional local chambers in our mutual pursuit of advocacies for business and economic recovery. We are also a member of the Multi-Sectoral Advisory Board of the Philippine Air Force Air Logistic Command, where we are requested to provide advice and support on strategic resource management and communication. A partnership activity with the Air Logistic Command, worthy of mention and commendation, were the trainings on inventory management solution and software development and management facilitated and provided for free by our member VMware Incorporated, headed by Mr. Bert Batak. For their part, the PAF Air Logistic Command had extended invitation to PAMCHAM members who may want to join the Air Force Reserve Command. If any of you are interested, you can request an orientation from the PAF for you. As we transition to what we can perhaps refer to as the next normal way of living and business beyond the usual, with COVID, PAMCHAM assures you, our dear members, that it will continue to prioritize business interest in our activities in partnership with our provincial, city, and municipal governments. PAMCHAM also commits to intensively work on advocacies that will promote investments into the province and spur the resurgence of our countryside economy. Our recent webinar on tourism, organized successfully by our Tourism Committee, led by Chairperson Marcia Hernandez, ably guided our Tourism Committee Director in Charge, Malu Garbes, started to pave the way for this imperative. The information and advice shared by our webinar speakers, who are the tourism officers of the SBMA, the CDC, the City of San Fernando, and Mabalacat City, provided essential guidance to safely facilitate the opening of our province and region to local and international tourists. PAMCHAM committees are essential in the Chamber's fulfillment of its mission to protect and promote the welfare and interests of the business community in Pampanga, especially as we begin the vital task of rebuilding and revitalizing our homegrown businesses that are negatively impacted by the pandemic. With your indulgence, and as my year-end report as President, let me present and acknowledge the noteworthy accomplishments of the other working committees of PAMCHAM, all of which reinforce our influence and confirm our role as the voice and representation of business in Pampanga. Our membership committee held 3 virtual matching sessions for the following sectors: health and wellness sector, HR upskills and development trainings, and online business applications, all done within the first 6 months of 2021. We also held 4 quarterly general membership meetings. The first was the blended GMM via Zoom and face-to-face at Roy's Hotel and Casino last February 23, with the theme Clark Becoming Asia's Economic Powerhouse, graced by our guest of honor and speaker, Honorable former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Attended face-to-face by 35 directors, members and guests, and 135 Zoom participants. Next was the virtual GMM via Zoom in May 27 with the theme Create Act, Its Impact to Countryside MSME. Our guest speaker was Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III, and in virtual attendance were 135 members and guests. This was followed by another virtual GMM via Zoom in October 7, theme Countryside MSME Recovery, a step towards regional economic bounds forward, with our guest virtual speaker, Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, Mr. Joey Concepcion, with 218 members and guests watching and participating via Zoom. Today, December 14, here at the Lakeshore, we are holding our 71st GMM, which is also our annual Christmas party. Our party chairperson, Director Malu Garbes, chose the theme PAMCHAM Christmas Carnival 2021, celebrating gratitude and hope for 2022. To engender a spirit of optimism for the coming year, despite the uncertainties we continue to contend with on account of the continuing presence of COVID-19 and its variants. The membership committee also conducted 2 virtual orientations and 2 inductions in the months of February and May, respectively. There was also Kapihan with Dr. Renato U. Solidum Jr. via Zoom, providing updates on the status of Mount Pinatubo in April 2021. There were 2 projects undertaken by the membership committee, the first of which is the Member Get Member program, where existing members are encouraged to invite new members into the chamber. In recognition and gratitude for the effort, the members shall be granted an annual dues discount of 500 pesos for every company successfully recruited to join PAMCHAM. Another project that was launched prior to the pandemic but was delayed full implementation for obvious reason is the members' privilege card. This program is intended to facilitate business matching and internal patronization of the product and services of PAMCHAM member companies. All these efforts made it possible for the committee to reach the target membership quota of 40 new member companies in 2021 and the activation of 12 inactive member companies. The committee also managed to generate new 14 corporate partners and encourage another year of renewal for the 11 corporate partners in 2020, or for a total of 26 corporate partners, which exceeded our target of 22 companies, generating a total amount of 1.126 million pesos. All this support by our members financially sustained the operations of PAMCHAM during the pandemic. Let me now take this opportunity to congratulate and express our gratitude to our membership committee director in charge, Ms. Jor Laos, and of course our membership committee chairperson, Ms. Myra Sobrevega of Color Steel. Next is our Committee on Information Technology. The committee held two virtual member webinars in April. Was the Automation 101, and in July was the Customer Behavior Journey, Series number 1, Bridging the Gap. At this point, let me congratulate our 3 IT committee members who were recently elected officers of the City of San Fernando ICT Council. They are Mr. Bert Batak of VMware as President, Mr. Felix Asuncion of Squidpay as VP External, and Ms. Fatima Yambao of Digitir as Secretary. Let us now acknowledge the activities of our Committee on Agriculture under the able guidance of our Director in Charge, Dr. Robert Law. The committee held the following virtual events: 2 virtual webinars on agribusiness, promotions and opportunity series number 2. This was done on March 23, 2021 via Zoom with resource speaker Dr. William Dar, represented by Yusek Ching, Department of Agriculture, Attorney Ed Pamintuan, Chairman of CDC, and Mr. Carlo Magno Aguilar of Fresh Herbs. Our attendees reached 70 members at this time. Next was the Agribusiness Promotion and Opportunity Series number 3, June 22, 2021, via Zoom, attended by 84 participants. Resource speaker were Ms. Catherine Camarao, SVP of DBP, Ms. Wilma Del Rosario, represented by Ms. Mina Bello, Philippine Carabao Center, and Mr. Paco Magsasay, owner of Carmen's Best. Next, let's take a look at the accomplishment of our Committee on Education, chaired by Dr. Lourdes Javier of San Lorenzo Ruiz and guided by our dear departed Director, Dr. Luis Calingo. They held the following activities relative to their function: survey on manpower needs and skills training conducted last January 2021, and virtual orientation of DepEd and on practicum, connecting theories and practicum, facilitated by Dr. Lawrence Agapito of DepEd last July 28, 2021. Next committee is our Committee on Seminars and Training, chaired by Mr. Batak of VMware. They held 2 virtual FB Live trainings in the months of March and June. There was the Ask Me Anything series number 2, facilitated by Mr. John Todorovic, tackling business performance and profitability, and Ask Me Anything series number 3, discussing cash flow versus profit. They also held the virtual webinar, Ignite Your Strengths, a coaching session by Coach Jonathan Yogawin last July 8, 2021. Let's now acknowledge the Committee on Disaster Risk and Reduction Management. Guided by our Vice Chairman Jim Jimenez, the committee conducted 2 virtual webinars. First is the Workplace Disaster Management, Effective Communication and Workplace Safety, last March 25, 2021. With the source speakers, Ms. Angelina Blanco of the Pampanga Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, and Mr. Bong Liwanag of Prompt Care, with 309 online attendees. Next was an appreciation course on the OSH law, RA 11058, with the source speaker, Mr. Herbert Monsalud, safety practitioner. The committee also created the PamCham Cares Facebook page that continuously highlights information and articles relevant to disaster and risk management. For a Committee on Tax and Regulations led by our tax experts, namely Director in Charge, Ms. Marilu Ramos Tolentino of Lupo S. Ramos and Company, and Committee Chairman Mr. Romy Torno of Romeo G. Torno, CPAs, they reached out to our local tax officials through the following activities. Courtesy virtual call on the committee members to the BIR Regional Director and the 3 RDO's officers on February 11, 2021. And courtesy virtual call on the committee members and the BOD with the newly installed BIR RD on July 21, 2021. The committee also provides regular updates and relevant tax issuance from the BIR through their tax digest to the members. Kudos to the officers and members of our committees. Your work at the committee level shall serve you well and prepare you for the next level task as PamCham Director. We look forward to having you join us in the board, effectively ensuring the continuity of leadership and sustain PamCham's role as the voice of business in Pampanga. May I also encourage and enjoin the other members to join our committees. Through you, PamCham relevance in the community is assured, and you shall have gained personal fulfillment as a business leader, knowing that you are an enabler of progress and your company a driver of development in the countryside. Thank you and welcome to our 71st GMM, and Merry Christmas to all.